women are now leading themselves, learning how to really lead themselves now to lead others and to lead the world. We're taking back our power. Men are taking back their power too, and they're being relieved because they don't have to be this role. So we're changing the roles of what male and female look like.
Hello, welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I'm honored that this is a place where women from around the world get to share their wisdom and their courage that's really intentional to shape a more conscious and compassionate world. This is a time, I believe, when women are emerging and our energy is needed more than ever. So I invite listeners to step into your gifts, your voice, your leadership, and your power to create meaningful change by listening to these women because they are inspirational. Today, I want to talk to you about creativity changing the world. And if this show resonates with you, please subscribe, share, leave a comment. It helps those the voices I share with you, reach further and wider. And you can also contact me at cynthiajames.net. Okay, let me introduce my guest today. Her name is Diane Rose Kelly. She's a visionary singer-songwriter, producer, writer, poet, speaker, and six-time Hall of Fame athlete. A former professional soccer player, three-time All-American collegiate soccer coach, and award-winning professor of health and kinesiology. She embodies passion and resilience and service in every endeavor. Diane Rose is also a published self-help author, a certified life coach, a motivational speaker, and an advocate for faith, inspiration, and women's empowerment. Wow, Diane Rose, thank you so much. I am so happy you are here.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. When I hear all that back, I'm like, wow, those are such great opportunities to serve other people through my talents and gifts. So thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Well, absolutely. And for those of you who are on audio, I'm looking at this beautiful woman thinking, how did she do all that? She's not old enough to do all that. So I'm so, it's really happy. So I want to start where you were born, how you grew up. The audience doesn't always understand that success is evolutionary. So you probably didn't grow up thinking you were going to be the biggest soccer player and have all of these awards. So how did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in New Jersey. I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And, my first attempt at sports was my uncle giving me a mitt, a baseball mitt, because my family was really big Yankee fans. So I think when I was like 7 or 8, I started throwing the tennis ball against the steps because that's what you did. And that was kind of like my first introduction. But we have there's 5 kids in our family. And so my mom was super busy. My dad was working, trying to, keep it all together. But growing up in New Jersey, it kind of gives you a mental toughness that I haven't found anywhere else. There's other cities that, feel mentally tough, but there's something about the loyalty and camaraderie and just how I garnished all of these different mental toughness attributes. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that really becomes important in terms of soccer because your focus and tenacity and fierceness is like really important. So how did you get into soccer?
Well, basically my first sport love was basketball,
Ah.
but I have an altitude deficiency. I'm 5'2". And so I was tired of being snubbed and I played basketball and but it wasn't really my niche. When I was 9 years old, my family moved to Rochester, New York. And my next door neighbor was like, "Oh, you ever play soccer?" I'm like, "Nah." So he basically taught me how to play soccer, and then it kind of bloomed from there. It was really cold in Rochester, New York, so the ball was freezing, so anytime you got the ball kicked into you, you had the letters of the soccer ball on your leg, but, that's where it all started.
Wow. Well, okay. So clearly you learned how to do this, right? Because you became a professional soccer player and then you became like a coach. What made you move from the playing to coaching and how did you know you could do that?
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know, you just flow, you know? And, I think it was like I was, like, in my 30s when I played professional. It was only for one season, and I was really thin, and my ex-coach showed up, like, at the games, and he's like, "You don't have your edge, you're getting knocked off the ball," and I'm just like, "Well, I traded my soccer body for a rock star body," and I became thin, and I just didn't have all the muscle and the center of gravity that I used to have, so, with that being said, at that time, it was a little bit before that time, I got my master's uh at West Florida University, and they asked me to coach. So I coached there, and I have been coaching all the way, like, along through camps and then, like, as an assistant and this and that, like, helping out when I could. So I had experience working with athletes, and so, yeah, I just kinda stepped into that. I stepped into the head coach role there.
Well, okay. Now, I just want to put a little pin in this because this is soccer and coaching over here and a master's degree program. But let's talk about music. Listen, everybody, she has been on stages with Gavin DeGraw, Train, Pat Benadar, Trisha Yearwood, Melissa Etheridge. Okay. Now, when did you have time to do that?
Well, actually you're too funny. When I was a professor at Pierce College, and also before I moved to Los Angeles, I was also a adjunct professor at a college in Orlando, and that's when my band Jayla, Jayla, we really thrived, and so um, while I was teaching, I was always singing. I always have a couple things going on. I'm not just a one track woman, right? So yeah, it was, while I was working as a professor and then in LA, working as a professor and booking all these shows and making all these connections and recording this amazing music you know, so that's kind of like it. Like music and sports are like my passion, but I also love kids. So it's like I would like teaching kids during the day or college kids, and then at night I'd be singing. So it was a good mix.
Well, I just wanna say to you, I'm from the same tribe. People used to say to me, "Why don't you just pick one lane and get stay there?" Because I sing and I dance and I act and I write and I speak and I do all those things too. And anybody listening out there who's got these multi-talents and passions, go for it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't live your life. Please don't do that. Because now I wanna talk about your memoir because so March 2026, okay, the new memoir, There Is No Goalie, How I Scored 128 Goals in My College Soccer Career, a book about mindset, character, and soccer. Okay, talk to me about this book.
Well, I mean, I didn't see it coming, and that's the beauty of life. You never, the beauty and also like the angst of like what's going to happen. But like God has His plan, or with your higher self, I believe. And so I was being honored at Mercer County College's Soccer Athletic Hall of Fame for my soccer play, and a reporter guy asked me during an interview, "Hey, Kelly, how'd you score all those goals?" And I said, "Really, it didn't seem like there was a goalie there. I just never paid attention to the goalie, you know?" And then later on the dinner, a reporter said, "How'd you score all those goals? Are you human?" I said, "I'm human, but there was no goalie." And I was joking, but in one way, I wasn't joking. The goalie is not there's no obstacle to my goal. So I didn't give them any respect. I mean, as human beings, for sure, right? But during the game, I acted like I just, I envisioned where I wanted the ball to go, and somehow yeah, the goalie wasn't there. Of course, I missed, but um, that's the mindset I had, was like, yeah, goalie, whatever.
Well, what I love about that is that, wow, what if we all walk through life that way? Like, really, there's no obstacle. We just keep going towards the place we wanna go, and then there may be something sometimes where you miss, but when you have that intentionality and that energy, I mean, the obstacles kind of fall away.
Yeah, I mean, you do. You still have things to deal with. There's so many things to deal with when you're trying to the inertia of all of these other things. Um, but if you can deal with those things and still hold your laser beam focused, that's the key. Like, it's not like your world revolves around what you're going to be doing. It's who you are becoming in the process, and what you are learning, and how you juggle everything so that it balances and synergizes into, a flow, which I'm still learning that, right? I've always been somebody that's just like, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for it. Well, it's not just about going for something. It's about becoming who you are for God and what that means, you know?
Yeah. Okay, I wanna talk about your faith. Because, a lot of the people that follow this program, have spiritual foundations, different religions or no religion. But let's talk about faith for you because it seems to be really important in the way in which you navigate your life.
Yes, ma'am. And, since I was a child, I always felt this mystical energy around me. So I always felt connected to something larger than myself. And so I grew up Catholic. And, I have a lot of respect for Catholicism. I'm no longer a part of the church per se, but I love the mystical aspects of Catholicism. I love it, and I still go to church sometimes. I don't feel the call to be a part of any kind of group. Now, with that being said, I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and that really helps drive. Um, the metabolism part of being a human being and a spiritual person. It's the aspiration of his life and the aspiration of his overcoming. And we're constantly resurrecting and ascending and all of this all the
Mhm.
time. We're just like, the goal really for me with faith is just to hold on to God has a purpose through me, that I may or may not understand the implications of that, in terms of what that means for me or how I affect other people. My goal is to stay present in faith as much as I can in the knowing, so that becomes the integration in every moment.
So I am so glad you said that because I take people on pilgrimages around the world. And one of the places I go is to the Chartres Cathedral in Chartres, France, which has
Right.
one of the largest indoor labyrinths in the world. And it's dedicated to the feminine right, to Mother Mary. And I've
Yeah.
also taken people on Mary Magdalene things. But the interesting thing is like what I tell people is going to sacred sites and opening your consciousness to to different ways of getting to that inner light within you. I mean,
Mhm.
it's everything, and, I personally had an experience, I'm gonna call it, mystical, because I was very sick and taken to a hospital and ended up seeing myself in this place, and Jesus walked to the front and anointed my head, and I grew up as an African Methodist Episcopal, and,
Uh-huh.
but I wasn't doing that, I was doing sort of non-denominational things, but it was very clear in that moment that Jesus is a way shower and a healer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it was I that I had been
Beautiful.
such a
Love that.
gift. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that experience. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, because yesterday I actually was in my room and I was praying. I had a rough day yesterday for whatever reason. And um I was just like, Jesus, just touch my head, just touch my head, when I was just praying. So when you said that, it just, really made me feel good. So thank you for sharing that with me.
Well, my honor. I just feel like we're human beings, but we're really more so spiritual beings, and we're
Yeah.
having this human experience, and so whatever way you can get to the divine operating as your life, go there and
Yeah.
say yes to yes.
I agree. I totally agree. And having that understanding of the embodiment of faith it's a whole nother world. Like when we first started learning about all these spiritual things, we couldn't wait to read all these books and all of that. And it's just like, wait a minute, now I don't really want to have all these books and all that. I want to know what it's like to embody my faith and to embody the Christ light in the essence of God in me. Show me, show me, show me what that is, and help me bring that in so that I can be the person that you want me to be in this life. So it's so beautiful when it comes to that because it's so personal and it's
Mhm.
so intimate that you start to live in the vulnerability and surrender, you know, of the moment. Not that you're there all the time because we're all riding the waves, but you know that that's your home base.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm looking at your bio and, you've composed over 100 inspirational songs that cover all these different genres. How does your music correlate with your spiritual being, your way of believing and walking the planet?
Yeah, thank you for that. I actually when I'm writing a song, it's a spiritual moment right there because I kind of like the word channel or the word spirit is infusing an idea into a concept. Um, all the songs that I write are really about love, truth, harmony, joy, healing, and um I always felt like I was, and I have in my other bands, but cutting edge on the music industry because it's so tainted by things. And I was really honored to work with a producer that let me sort of channel the parts in my head. Okay, go here, find that beat. Go here, I hear the bass here, whatever. And so it was like it would just come. So it's always spiritual for me. Now, when I go play live, I'll have a set list but that set list can change. For example, the other day I was singing, I saw a lady walk in and she just looked so disheartened and drawn. And so Spirit said, write this song on stage about a smile and about whatever came through. Don't ask me what I sang.
I
But
love that.
you know? And so by the end of the night or whenever she left, she was glowing. And it was like God's little work, right? She had no idea that I was intentionally told to you know, send that energy, write the song on stage and sing it. Okay, boom. So it's all spiritual.
Right.
Everything is spiritual, right? So it's like, it's so fun though, right?
Well, I love that you said that. I love your song "Woman of Vision," and, I wanna know, how do people find you and your books and your music and your tours?
Well, thank you. My website's being built right now. But all my music is on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. The record is called The Verge. The new soccer memoir, There Is No Goalie, is available on Amazon or True Valor Creative,
Okay.
which is truevalor7 at gmail.com. So um, you can find me on the internet and just type Diane Rose Kelly in, a bunch of stuff will come up and be glad to communicate and share music and speak and do whatever I can to help somebody else.
I love that. Well, I ask the same last question of every guest on this show. The show is called Women Awakening. What do you think is the most important thing about women awakening in this moment?
Basically, I think women are now leading themselves, learning how to really lead themselves now to lead others and to lead the world. We're
Yeah.
taking back our power,
Yes.
you know? And that's really what's happening, and men are taking back their power too from and they're being relieved because, wow, now they don't have to be this role, right? So we're changing the roles of what male and female look like because we embody both, and we're both sexes in a physical sense are taking back their power and embodying the feminine. So we're taking back our power to lead the world.
I couldn't agree more. Well,
Mhm.
Diane, well, thank you so much for being here, for your joy and your gifts, and your commitment. I'm very grateful to know you.
I'm very grateful to know you. It's my honor to be here with you today.
Okay, ladies, I want to thank you first and foremost for being a part of Women Awakening. If today's episode inspired you, let us know. Put it in the comments. Subscribe. Share it. Share the videos with people, or share the podcast with people. Um, I just want you to know that you are important. You matter. Your gifts matter, and you're on this planet in this moment because there's something powerful that you need to express in only the way that you can express it. You are a woman awakening, and I give thanks and I'm grateful, and I will see you next time. Take a breath. Bye.